Hey, Steve here from the Never Ending Projects List. Welcome back to my channel. If you've seen some of my older stuff, you may recognize this. This is a four-tail grub. And of course it shoots with a four-piece mold. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I think it's titled something along the lines of Crazy Split Lines. I don't have too many videos, so I'm sure you can find it, but this worked out pretty well. So today I am going to try to one-up this, and I'm going to do an 8-piece mold. So let me jump onto the computer here, and I'll show you exactly what I'm going to try to make. Okay, here we are in Fusion 360, and this is what I am dubbing as the Octoworm. Now, let me be clear, this is not some revolutionary bait. This is just something I quickly came up with to test an 8-piece mold. If anything, this would be an as seen on TV type of lure if this was real. Well, hopefully it's going to be real if it works out, but if you actually like this design, don't get excited because you will not see this in the stores anytime soon. So let me show you what the actual mold's going to look like. It's just going to be a simple 8-piece design. Nothing too crazy. Well, I guess it's kind of crazy if you think about it, but you know what I mean. This is what it would look like transparent. But next thing I got to do is actually get these printed up. So I am going to run down to the shop and start doing that. And we'll meet back down there as soon as I'm done. Okay, before I get into the 8-piece mold, I need to announce the winner of the giveaway from the last video for these 10-pack of custom jig heads. These are the ones I made up for the winner. Custom painted them kind of like in the video. We got some like a perch one, a yellow, a couple different shad colors, and maybe a baby bass one. Since then, I did come up with this custom laminate mold for a body, and this is what that looks like. Get it going the right way here. So I know it's been about 4 months, so I also am going to include some bodies with this giveaway. These were supposed to be gold to match that gold head, but they came out a little orange because I'm not very good with colors. But anyway, I got some green, some yellow, and some couple of silvers here. There are some flaws in these. You can see some bubbles and stuff, and a couple of them are probably missing fins, but you get what you pay for, so no complaining. But anyway, I just used a random comment generator to select a winner, and that winner is Paul Williams. So Paul, if you're watching this, just drop me an email from my website, and I will get your address and get these sent out to you. But as for now, let's just get back into that 8-piece mold. Okay, here we are. We got the 8 pieces of the mold all printed up. There's actually only 2 different pieces, just 4 of each, and I got them marked 1 and 2. These were printed at a PLA with a 25 layer height. I really wasn't worried about how they looked, just whether this is going to work or not. They were printed standing up, so I did rectangle pins just because, I don't know if you can see that, but the bottom of the alignment pin's angled, so there was no need for supports. That probably was a bad idea because they needed quite a bit of cleanup to fit together, but basically these just all go together like this. And I'm going to put 4 pieces together to form half the mold. Make sure the tops all line up because of the way the pins are. And then the other side of the mold goes together. And once you get 2 halves done, just clamp them together. And to do that, I am going to use hose clamps. Somebody on Instagram gave me this idea. I was just going to try rubber bands, but I think this will work a hell of a lot better. So I'm just going to tighten these up a bit. Make sure that it's all flush on one side. I don't want to do them too tight. There'll probably be a lot of flashing on this mold anyway with 8 pieces, but I don't want to crack anything, so it's better to be able to clean up some flashing than ruin the mold right off the bat. But it's just going to go together like that. So let me heat up some plastisol and we'll give this thing a first shot and see if it works. So basically, when shooting a 3D printed mold, especially made out of PLA, you heat it up to 350 at least, and then I let it cool down to right around 300 or under, which it's right about there. So we're going to see what happens here. Put on my gloves. Safety first, kids. Just using my little 4-ounce injector here. We don't really need a lot with a single cavity mold. And definitely going to use just a little bit of pressure. Like once you feel it stop, That's it. That's all you need. There's not a lot of plastic space in these molds. I'm just going to top it off. And see if that worked. Time to crack this open and see if it worked. Cracking it open is going to be the hard part. Kind of got to separate each one of these a little at a time. Hope for the best. Oh man, definitely didn't shoot it hard enough. But that happens. That's why you start low and then increase your pressure. But probably should have vented the mold a little too. Well, let's see how it turned out overall. Okay, that's not a total failure. I don't know what the thing looks like, but let's give this another shot. Reload. Use my big injector this time, it's a little smoother. Oh yeah, that felt a lot better. Alright, gonna give that about 15 minutes to cure up because a 3D printed mold doesn't suck out the heat as well as an aluminum does, so I want to make sure those legs are nice and firm so when I pull them out they don't rip. So, be back in a little bit. Alright, let's see if I did better this time around. Well, looking good so far. Surprisingly, this is a lot easier to get apart than I thought. A little bit of flashing, that's to be expected. There's always one piece that sticks. There we go. It's a lot bigger than I thought. Always looks smaller on the screen, but I'm going to clean up all this flashing and get this thing in some water and see how it looks. Alright, here's what it looks like in the water. I just have this stuck on a jig head, and this test tank's a little too small to get any action on it, but you can see how the legs spread out and move around pretty good. Green was probably a bad color choice because it kind of looks like a plant at this point, but I'm going to shoot a couple more colors and we'll go from there. Okay, I shot another one of these off camera in a purple, so let's see how this came out. Or if it came out, I should say. Still can't believe how easy this is to open. Looks like it's coming out all right. Again, got a bit of flashing, but that's expected with a 8-piece mold. Or at least I would think it would be. I don't know if anybody's ever done an 8-piece mold. It's a little sticky right now, but it's not too bad. I like that color a lot better than the green. I don't think there's many purple plants out there, so I'll probably do a couple of different colors and before we get to try to fish these. And alright, here we are out on the lake. Got me a purple one all rigged up on a jig head. That's the best I can do for now. We're going to give this a shot, see if it catches fish. I am not the best worm fisherman in the world, but we'll see what I can do. Okay, as you saw, I couldn't catch anything. I threw these around, tried different colors, everything. Nothing was working. I even threw my little Ned Rig crayfish, which I usually smash stuff on this all day long, and I couldn't even get a bluegill to bite. So that's how horrible the fishing was. So after I cried myself to sleep that night, I woke up the next day and decided to redesign things a little bit. As far as the bait goes, I went with a smaller leg on one side, and then on the long side I added a little extension on the tips. Hopefully it'll flap around a little bit more. And I also made the body a lot smaller because this bait's a little bit big for the kind of fishing I usually do. I mean, a dink is not going to be able to eat that, so did that. And I also went to a pin system because those rectangles were horrible. I just printed the pins afterward and glued them in. That way, again, there was no supports needed. And mold goes together same way as before. Supposed to be marked on the top, but I ran out of filament about 3 layers before the end of that, so I kind of just drew on the bottom, which I like to do anyway. That way the mold goes back together exactly the same way every time. So if there's any warping, hopefully going back exactly the same way will minimize flashing, at least in theory anyway. So let me get this clamped up. I'm going to heat up that purple again, and we'll shoot this and see how this one comes out. So let me go do that. All right, let's crack this open, see what happened. Looks like it might have shot. Get those little flappers out of there. I waited a good probably 20 minutes for this thing to cure, just so the legs don't tear pulling them out. But it looks like it shot pretty cleanly. I mean, you always have a little bit of flashing, but here we go. I think those little legs will be a lot better, and we'll see if these little kicker feet do anything, but I doubt I'll be able to go fishing again anytime soon, so I might just have to throw this thing in the bathtub and see what the action looks like. But for now, we'll give it a little bit of a test and see if it's any better than the last one. Let me rig it up. Okay, here we are in the test tub. Now the water's not very deep and I'm not using a fishing pole, so I don't have a proper twitch on this thing, but overall I am not very impressed with this version either. I do like the skinnier body, but those little legs I came up with, they don't have much action. The little kicker feet I added to the longer legs, that might be a bit of an improvement. They do have a little more flop and kick, I think. So not a total waste, but not a total improvement either. You can see on the swim test here, they do kick around a lot more. Here's a bit of a slow-mo. For now, this is about all the testing I'm going to do on this one. Well, there you go. Overall, not the best design, but it wasn't meant to be. It was just meant to be a test for an 8-piece mold, and that worked out pretty well, I have to say. So that might lead to some other weird designs in the future. Overall, I'm not sure how much more I'm going to evolve this design. I think this one, I'm just going to chop these little legs off and use it as a four-tail worm. I think it'll have a little bit better action without those getting in the way. But I am determined to catch a fish on this, so maybe that'll end up in some bonus footage this coming up season. But overall, the 8-piece mold worked out pretty well. Not as much flashing as I thought, and it actually came apart a hell of a lot easier than I was thinking it was gonna. I'm not sure how these round design molds are going to hold up over time. I don't know if they'll start warping and cause a lot of flashing, but time will tell if I do anything else crazy. I do have another design of a multi-piece mold I'm going to do, a little bit different, so stay tuned for that. But as always, I just want to say thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.